We believe that all men are created
equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe it.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Alexei Navalny's coffin carried into church. President Putin's strongest opponent until his death in a Siberian prison. Outside, supporters chanting his name. Overnight, Russian riot police arriving, the Kremlin warning any unsanctioned gatherings would be illegal. Still, organizers say over 1,000 Russians have gathered near the church in Moscow to bid farewell. This is a huge loss, this woman says. He gave his life in the fight, says another. Navalny's team organizing a global live feed of the event.
Wow.
24 hours after President Putin's menacing address to the Russian nation, shown on massive screens in Moscow.
Oh, God.
Alexei Navalny's widow will not attend her own husband's funeral. Such is the risk to her after refusing to be silenced.
Putin must answer for what he has done with my country.
Go, Yulia. Honestly, they were very brave in Moscow. They were extremely, spined to show up and to protest for Navalny. And, of course, Donald Trump is probably watching, what Vladimir Putin did yesterday. It's his version of the State of the Union thing yesterday where he threatened us with nukes. Do you know that? Yes. Our former president's boyfriend, okay, the apple of his eye, the love of his life, the man he, literally is fascinated with to the point of, wanting to be him so bad, is on big screens threatening the United States and Europe with nukes. And Donald Trump's probably going, I'm going to put myself on big screens. I want to be on big screens too, threatening the world with nukes. I can't wait. I want to. It's so sick. It's so sad. It's so twisted. But of course, Donald Trump, as you know, I mean, people go, why are you so hateful towards? Well, I think Putin actually killed his opposition ahead of an election, killed him. And Donald Trump is fighting in court to have that kind of power because really the immunity thing centered on the question that was asked to Trump's lawyers. If Donald Trump were president, could he use SEAL Team 6 to assassinate his political opposition, his rival? And Trump's lawyer said, yes. So please don't blame me for what he's representing to the court. He should have the power to do because it's not me that's making this crap up. It's him. Now, I do think he's going to lose specifically because of this, but I could be wrong. And unless we all show up and start being heroic in our ability to speak out and speak up against a dictator like the Russians did today at Navalny's funeral. They were out there chanting free Russia. They were out there chanting Navalny. Yulia Navalny, who can't go to her husband's funeral because obviously she would end up dead in a jail somewhere, or a piano would fall on her lovely head, or, she would touch a doorknob and, oh my God, it was poisoned and she's slowly dying now. And of course, her daughter, Dasha, is going to Stanford University. The kids could not attend their dad's funeral because of that man. And I know that if Donald Trump had access to power again, this is how he would wield it. Now, it's really scary because yesterday, no jokes, no kidding, Vladimir Putin literally threatened to use nukes for the third time. He threatened to use nukes at the beginning of his invasion into Ukraine and said that, if anybody stopped him, that he would use tactical nukes. He would put them on the battlefield. Don't F with me. Let me do what I want to do. Then once he thought he was losing, he actually threatened to use nukes again because NATO started to say things like, hey, maybe we need to help Ukraine. Maybe we need to give them F-16s. Maybe we need to give them long range. Maybe we need to give them. And Putin said, you get involved in this, and I'll use nukes. And then yesterday, because he feels like now he's winning and he doesn't want the sands of the hourglass to slip through his hands, he threatened to use nukes again on the big screen in front of the entire country of Russia, which is gigantic. And Donald Trump is still his fanboy. The man threatened the United States with nuclear holocaust, and Donald Trump is still his fanboy. And it was. I'll tell you, I'm so glad Nicole is back. What's her name? Nicole Wallace on MSNBC. Welcome back, Nicole. She apparently had a baby by surrogate because she's 54. Just saying, looks great, but 54. So she got married and decided, hey, let's start a new family, and had somebody birth it for her. I don't know the exact details, but anyway, she was on maternity leave. Now she's back. Yay. You do you, Nicole. But she interviewed Malcolm Turnbull, the former Prime Minister of Australia, who was at various meetings in Europe with Donald Trump, who was just hearting and oozing admiration and fascination for Vladimir Putin. Now, Turnbull was in Helsinki. You remember Helsinki, right? He denied it, and I believe Putin. I don't see why he would. I don't see why he would have hacked the DNC, which he did do, right?
When you see Trump with Putin, as I have on a few occasions, he's like the 12-year-old boy that goes to high school and meets the captain of the football team. My hero. It is really creepy. It's really creepy.
Great.
The scary thing is that for countries like Australia and many European countries, we may find ourselves, are we going to find ourselves not dealing just with two autocracies in Russia and China, but what is Trump's America going to look like?
Oh, my God.
This is a guy leading a party that is no longer committed to democracy as we understand it.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. A former prime minister of a democracy, Australia, is saying that he knows that Donald Trump's instincts don't trend toward democracy. They trend more towards a Putin-type autocracy. And we're a good chunk of the way there. Because you remember yesterday, Gary asked me, what country did I think we would be more like if Putin, if Trump won? And I said Russia, and he goes, oh, so you don't think we would transition into Hungary and then go full Russia? And we're more into where Russia's territory is than Hungary's. Why? Because we're the richest country in the world, and a lot of our wealth is owned by oligarchs. And every time we try and trust bust, every time we try and, tamp down gouging by the big giant, corporate titans that own this country, right, that own us, they push back with their money and they buy themselves a couple of senators, they buy themselves a couple of House members, and they say, no, you can gouge the American people, even after the COVID experience was so shattering, right? So we know we're much more into Russian oligarchy territory than small little economy like Hungary. It's just the white supremacist portion of Viktor Orban's love for white people only is very present in Donald Trump. So, and you could see it because yesterday Donald Trump and Joe Biden, they both went to the border. Did you see that? I mean, it was like two completely different worlds. It was two completely different approaches to solving a problem. One wanted to exploit the problem and call the problem, murderers and rapists and mental patients. I mean, he really does say this over and over again. There is no evidence. There is no proof. There is nothing to back up Donald Trump saying that they're emptying their jails and prisons and mental institutions, whoever they are in his warped mind. There is nothing to back that up. But he keeps on saying it. And then Joe Biden went down to the border and he said, hey, Donald, you killed the border security package. Why don't you come on board and we can solve it together? Wow.
all things Randi at
RandiRhodes.com. Go there.
For launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randi Rhodes Show.
Go there. Go to RandiRhodes.com. Go there. It's March 1st. I have bills to pay. I'm not kidding. I'm freaked out. Ask Brett. Ask him. Ask him.
I don't know what you're talking about. You seem perfectly calm.
Perfectly calm. All right. So this is the former Prime Minister of Australia being interviewed yesterday by Nicole Wallace, who was reacting to a clip of him that went viral yesterday because he was Prime Minister of Australia when Donald Trump was President of the United States. And he wants everyone to know ahead of our election, okay, that this man will turn us into an autocracy in a heartbeat, okay, because he wants all the power, all for himself, to keep himself out of prison.
The Trump fascination with Putin is a very creepy one, and it was palpable. I mean, people who have been with Trump and Putin, and indeed people who saw him with Putin at that Helsinki conference, will see the same thing.
Yep.
He has a fascination with Putin. He's in awe of Putin, probably admires him, probably wishes he could be as omnipotent in America as Putin is in Russia. But it's very disconcerting when you see the leader of the free world being so interested in tyrants. And of course, it's not just Putin. I mean, look at his bromance with Kim Jong-un. How improbable was that? And, effectively exchanging what I think he described as love letters.
Which are rumored to be the documents, part of the documents that Donald Trump stole, okay, because they were his. But he also is having a bromance right now with Viktor Orban, and they're about to get together, too, in a little, afternoon delight. I honestly, and so there's just one little clip left of Malcolm Turnbull, the former Prime Minister of Australia, that you need to hear. You need to know this. He's saying to you that Trump's basic instinct, okay, his instinct is not toward democracy. His instincts are towards communism, towards autocracy, towards awesome amounts of power for him and none for you. No belief in democracy.
This was particularly the case at the Hamburg G20 in 2017. It was very disconcerting. I mean, you saw on the one hand Trump's very, very apparent distaste for Angela Merkel, the Chancellor, effectively the Prime Minister of Germany. On the other hand, his fascination with Putin. And it was an extraordinary contrast. His instincts are not democratic. And again, he says the quiet part out loud, as you said in your introduction. We don't have to, speculate or psychoanalyze Donald Trump. He says all this stuff. He is not a conservative. People often talk about conservatism and so forth. Trump's not a conservative. Conservatives believe in the rule of law. They defend established institutions. They are not, conservatives do not embrace radical change. They want change to be incremental and gradual. Trump is determined to use every lever he can get, and he says he will do that, to maximize his power and, of course, take action against his enemies. I mean, didn't he say at a bit of public speech, I will be your retribution? Well, that's hardly the language of someone who wants to bring everybody together.
I mean, there is no doubt in my mind, or anybody who has heard Donald Trump's rallies, or anything he said at the border yesterday, or read any of the 91 felony counts, or read any of the indictments, or hears anything Donald Trump is saying, or sees anything Donald Trump is doing with the courts and the Supreme Court and trampling on the Constitution, and the Supreme Court is helping him do it, there is no doubt in anybody's mind that on day one, he would deploy the military on our streets by invoking the Insurrection Act. There is no doubt, because he wants to be Vlad. He wants to actually arrest protesters the way Vlad did. Does everybody remember that Lafayette Square Park debacle with the little green men who it turned out came from prisons all around the country, and they were all wearing green uniforms with no ID on the patches. We didn't know where they came from. They had no names. Everything was covered over, and they were all assembled to break up the protest in Lafayette Square Park. And Donald Trump managed to get General Milley to walk with him, and he ended up, Milley, apologizing for being present at that because, according to him, he didn't know that Donald Trump was going to act like a dictator that day, and he was going to attack the protesters who were doing nothing but using their First Amendment right to protest Donald Trump. And he went to the church and held the Bible upside down. The whole day, that whole episode was really, really illustrative of what Trump would do if he was prepared to win last time. He wasn't prepared to win last time. That's the dirty little secret. Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani came up with this harebrained scheme. I think it had to do with the New York FBI field office. I've told it to you a million times, where they took Anthony Weiner's laptop and found whom Abedin also used it. And on that laptop, they found emails, but they knew the emails were copies of things that the FBI had already looked into, or they decided not to look at them at all, sit on the computer, and then handed it off to James Comey 11 days before an election and said, here, you do the forensic search of this computer. And it was something Comey did not think he could complete in 11 days. And so he had to announce to the American people that he was reopening up the Hillary Clinton email investigation. And the freaking thing worked. People were so propagandized about the Clinton crime family when it was really the Trump crime family. Oh, and you know who else? The Boebert crime family. The Boebert crime family. Have you heard about Lauren Boebert's, a little 18-year-old boy, her son? It's like a scene out of True Romance with Clarence Worley, right? And Clarence Worley kills a guy, and the guy dies with Clarence Worley's license in his hand, right? So they know that it was Clarence that went and took the drugs from the drug dealer. Well, this one, her son actually went and started a crime spree in Rifle, Colorado, started with his little gang. Swear to God, this is such a bougie crime. This is such a white boy crime. This is so, whiteistan, okay? But him and his friends started breaking into cars and stealing credit cards. Who leaves their credit cards in cars except for bougie white people, okay? So they started stealing credit cards, and then they would take the credit cards that they found after they broke into these cars and go on shopping sprees. And the way they ID'd him was he was wearing the sweatshirt from his mom's former restaurant, okay, from Shooter's Grill. And they looked at the video and they went, oh, my God, that's Lauren Boebert's kid. And then they found on his laptop a sex tape that he made with an underage girl. Now, he's only 18, but they charged him with 5 felonies and 12 misdemeanors. One of them was contributing to the delinquency of a minor. It should have been statutory rape, if you ask me, because that is what occurred there on the tape. I mean, you talk about crime families. The Clinton crime family. Yeah, right.
To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right. It's Friday. Jacob in Ohio, hello.
Yeah, I just want to make a couple points. You were talking earlier about nuclear weapons and Putin and everything, and I just want to make a point about that. Right now, we need a statesman. We need a John F. Kennedy. We need a Winston Churchill. We need somebody that's going to be, and it's like people talk about Biden's age and everything, and I get that. But Trump is too old too. I mean, Trump is what, 76?
77.
I mean, come on. There needs to be 77. Okay, excuse me, but there
okay.
needs to be age requirements. I mean, I truly feel like if you get up, and that's nothing discriminating against age, but if you were over 65, you should not run the country. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's just too taxing of a job. And
I don't
people
know
talk about Biden's age, and Trump is, just too old. He's too old himself. And I want to make another point on NATO.
Okay, wait. Before you go to your NATO point, I'll write NATO down so you can pick up. Okay.
Yeah.
We're a country of rich white guys. I don't know. We had, what did I say, 68 senators over the age of 65 or some crazy amount.
I know, it's like, here we go again. Like,
No,
you know what I mean?
it's not that. It's you definitely are groping for a reason to not like either of them, I think. And age seems to be the place that everyone is being directed to hang their disappointment on, when truly the place to hang your disappointment on is something that we all control, and that's the Electoral College. Except that after the election, Jacob, I promise you, nobody is going to want to hear anything about the hard, heavy lift of amending the Constitution to get rid of the Electoral College. They're just not going to want to hear it. And so it will remain this way. And this is how you end up with only 2 candidates out of 350 million people. It's not that
crazy.
It's crazy, but it's not that they're too old, okay? It's that one is an autocrat, one is a power-hungry maniac, and the other one is a decent man who is 81 and, speaks as if he's 81 because he is. Doesn't mean he can't.
I just think there should be an age, requirement the other way, too. As far as they have the young age requirement, then they should have an older. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but I don't think that's the reason that people are disappointed. I think people are disappointed because they let themselves be disappointed every single election cycle because they refuse to do the hard work of amending the Constitution, which takes 2/3 of the states to buy in, but it needs to be done so that we can have third parties and fourth parties and fifth parties.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So, okay, NATO.
Okay, I want to make a point on NATO. After the fall of Germany in '89, or the Berlin Wall and everything, and '91, Russia fell.
Gorbachev.
The agreement was the reason why the Russians, and they're upset because Putin is a killer. He's a murderer. He's not a nice guy. If you look at it from Russia's point of view, NATO keeps it moving towards them. Like they keep moving, inching.
Well, yeah.
Eastwards.
Now that he's invaded Ukraine, we added 2 more countries to NATO because one of them is on his border and they're terrified of him. So
But I'm just saying, like.
He has no reason. Please do not grope and say that he has any reason at all to be the aggressor and had to have invaded Ukraine.
No, my point being is that Finland and like Norway and like that, they should have not. The agreement in '91 was to make it to Germany was as far as it would go, and we kept moving eastward.
No. No. And here's the thing. We owe Ukraine. Do you know why? Do you know why we're in this as deep as we are? We told them. We made a deal with them. Ukraine was a nuclear country because it was part of Russia.
No, I believe in helping Ukraine. They've fought hard.
So what I'm saying to you is this idea of NATO being any reason at all that would validate anything Putin is afraid of or is attack. That's such flotsam and jetsam. That's pulled out of Trump's ass. Okay, it isn't true. Why? The reason why we owe Ukraine, number one, is because Ukraine said they would get rid of all their nuclear weapons, and they did it. And now they are unarmed, and that is why Vlad is in there. He wouldn't have even started a war if Donald Trump got a second term. Know why? Because Donald Trump would have handed him Ukraine.
Okay, well, I don't know about the nuclear weapons part. I'm uninformed on that.
Well,
so.
Look it up. It's very easy. Just do a Google search. Ukraine denuclearizes.
Okay, well, I didn't know that part.
Yeah, and so we owe them.
Yeah, they're fighting for freedom, and I think we do. I mean, we do. I mean, they're at the front lines, and they're the ones that are taking the brunt. I get it. I mean, I get that. I get it.
Well, that's good. Where are you in Ohio?
I'm in Van Wert County. I'm in Van Wert.
North.
North, like northeastern.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because you sound very sane for an Ohioan.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you,
I'll
Buckeye.
take that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
Bye.
Bye. Andy in Maine.
Yes, hi. I'd like to call about Project 2025,
Okay.
and I'm a first-time caller.
Oh, hey.
Been watching you for a few years. Yeah, well, when the report came out, before the report, the 900-page report telling their plans for America,
Yeah.
There was some discussion on mainstream media for 2 or 3 days, mostly before that report, and then even Free Speech TV's had very little on it. And I've heard a few excerpts on their plans for the LGBT community, and it really freaks me out.
So basically what this is a 900-page roadmap to how you infiltrate all of the government offices that the president appoints people to, that the president is responsible for filling, right? And the problem last time, as identified by Steve Bannon and Steve Miller, was that they didn't think they were going to win, so they didn't have 4,000, 5,000 people ready to, go into the government and do crazy crap, right? They didn't have the wherewithal to say, oh, we should use the Insurrection Act and, any protests against. So this time they do. This time they know how to be president. They know what they can control. They know how many people they need ready to surge into the government. They know that they need Trump to declare to use the Insurrection Act on day one and declare martial law and deploy the military any place where there might be protests. Blue states, for instance. That's what Project 2025 is.
Well, how come it's being so suppressed on the news?
I don't think it's being suppressed. I just think it sounds so fantastical that people don't want to believe that it's a real thing, but it is a real thing. And again, it's one of those 900-page things that no one's going to, sit and read, but they should.
Well, I hope that some of your people on your free speech TV shows can get a copy of it and
we all
read
have
excerpts
it.
out of it.
All right. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's scary, though.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show.
It is.
To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Well, this sounds fun.
As president, I will carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history to remove Joe Biden's illegals and murderers, because that's what many of them are. Mm-hmm. It's very simple. If they don't go back to their countries, we will never get back our country.
Get back our country. From whom? Listen, American prowess, American strength, American ability to lead the world in GDP and lead the world in, everything, every nook, except for crime. Is because of immigrants. Okay? It is an economic boon to have immigrants. Every person in this country could probably trace their place in the United States to their immigrant grandparents, their immigrant parents, their immigrants. It's just so the mass deportation thing. That is also part of this Project 2025. And in order to do it, that's why he has to be a dictator on day one. Stephen Miller and a whole bunch of people that do podcasts that are on, Steve Bannon's show and on uber right-wing Christian nationalist shows. They have all told you what it is they want to do on day one. And what they want to do is the Insurrection Act, mass deportations, and they want staging grounds to be somewhere in Texas, but Texas is on fire. So maybe they're going to have to move into a different state because, Texas is on fire. But so they're telling you exactly who they are and what they want to do. But if you want us to read excerpts from the 2025, it's a Heritage Foundation thing. You can Google it and look it up. But the problem with it is it's all in sections, okay? And in order to find whatever it was you wanted me to read about LGBT, you would have to, I should have asked you. So you could write me an email if you want. I don't even want to give my email address out on the air, not because it's not a public address, because that email box, my box, fills up so fast. I can't take it. I can't. It wears me out because I answer you. Very strange. I know. But okay, ZX X.
Come on now. Why?
I don't know. I have a hard time with your damn name. Can't you come up with a nickname?
X.
X. Okay.
All right. And honestly, I have to ask you a real question. Do you really think we care about Trump's little plan to come scoop us up, man? In California, LA, my grandparents from Louisiana and Tijuana, like, we give a darn.
What are we talking about now?
We're talking about we're talking about Trump.
The mass deportations? Is that it? Is that what you're?
Yeah, because what? I'm gonna get deported. Where am I going to get deported to?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. They're going to put you in a camp and then they'll sort you out later. That is what they want to do.
Then how am I going to call you?
How am I going to be here to be called? They're going to take me too, you know. And I'm almost see-through. That's how white I am. So honestly, I don't think it matters. They just want to round up any opposition to them. They're going to go after not just immigrants. I told you, they're going to go after protesters. They're going to go after women who have crossed borders to have abortions. I mean, anybody that has sinned against them is going to be rounded up and put in various camps.
Okay.
That's what they have in mind.
Completely understood.
Right.
Please don't hang up on me.
All right.
Just give me less than a minute. Now, when I was mentioning to Brett with the Russians, you saw that big old crowd?
Yeah.
They could have outnumbered them.
Yeah, but they still arrest them. I don't make
and put them where?
Well, they arrest them and they throw them in jail, and they leave them in jail for a couple days, and then they release them. But that's what happens in Russia. They arrest every protester. They do it all the time. In fact, when Navalny first died, there were massive protests in Moscow and St. Petersburg, and the police were just rounding people up, just throwing them in the paddy wagon, just taking them to the jails, local jails, and leaving them in there, for a couple days. They do it all the time. We do it here too, you know. We do it here too. They arrest protesters here. It's becoming an epidemic.
Right.
Yeah.
Twin Towers, L.A. I've been there, done that. Randy, love your show.
Thank
you. Know, remember, I've been a listener for freaking 20 years.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'm 43.
Goodbye. Ernesto in California.
Hey, Randy.
Hi.
That's me, Ernesto. No, I'm in San Juan, Puerto Rico, at the airport.
Oh, okay.
And I'm from Florida.
Hi, welcome home.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm going to make it quicker because, getting on this all the time. The reason I'm calling is because, you hear these people talking about Russia, like Russia's a paradise. Oh, come on. I work in Russia. I spent 2 weeks there. I never seen people
smile
that miserable in my life.
No one smiles there. I've been there, too. It's horrible.
It is horrible. The airport in Moscow, these people treat you like trash.
Yeah.
And you can see in their faces that they are angry and they are afraid, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah.
And they hate Americans.
I agree.
It's so this is nonsense. They feel that NATO's going to, get to their border. No. Moldova is next.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I was working with a guy from Moldova last week, and he was afraid of that. But he also told me that half of the people that he talked to in Moldova, they are for Putin. Go figure.
Yeah, I know. It's very weird. But there's that little sliver of land that I'm sure you heard of, Transnistria, which is Russian. So, that's just a little tiny little sliver between Moldova and Ukraine, and it's Russian, and that's kind of where that pro-Russia sentiment comes from. But yes, Moldova, and you know who else was talking about it the other day was the president of Poland, or not the president, the foreign minister of Poland was at the United Nations, and he was saying, let me set the record straight, Poland is next. I mean, everybody understands that if Putin's going to go out, he's going to go out big, okay? And
we should listen to the Prime Minister of Australia was the one that was warning us.
That was amazing. That was totally amazing. But when I was in Russia, it was like 2015, I think I was there, and the Russians had just invaded Crimea, and the Russians that the few of them that were willing to talk to us at all, they didn't know anything about it.
Yeah,
and it had been
going
on.
That's right. I was there in 2015.
Yeah. And it was going on for a year already, and they had no idea that their country, because I kept asking them, well, what do you think about, your country just invaded Ukraine, because they have a very close relationship with Ukrainians, because they're like brothers, they're the same. Listen, people in Poland too. People in Poland were probably, of Russian descent or taken over by Russia during the World War II. A lot of people in Warsaw, are used to Russian, taking their country. But there's this kinship between Polish and Ukrainian and Moldovan and Lithuanian and Latvian and Estonian. You know what I mean? They all view themselves as brothers. So I asked them, well, what do you think about invading Ukraine? And they were like, what are you talking about? That didn't happen.
Yeah, but it's the Putin is the guy that had to go. It's not going to happen because the Russians are afraid of him.
They are afraid of him.
And now we love, now we love him. We hate the Mexicans and we love the Russians.
It's very sick. It's all propaganda, Ernesto. It is. And,
I know.
It's just a steady drip of disinformation, misinformation, propaganda. It worked against Hillary Clinton. That was the point of me telling you about the Clinton crime family, right? Everybody was up to here with, Hillary's a criminal and Hillary smells like sulfur and the flies land on Hillary. And meanwhile, they land on Mike Pence. But okay. And so that when the email case got reopened, everyone was so exhausted, so tired. Oh my God, maybe she did do it, right? And then she lost. The same exact strategy is at play here, and it's making ordinary Americans, freedom-loving Americans, so they say, religious freedom-loving Americans, endorse Vladimir Putin's closed down, broke-ass Russia. You talk about an old man. That is a nasty old man, a former KGB agent, a colonel, no less, running that country. Everyone in Russia is broke. I hope you got your brain wrapped around what it really is like over there. And thank you, Ernesto, for helping me explain it, because he's been there too. This place is the unhappiest place on the planet because people make $200 a week and they have no freedom. None.
Mary had a little lamb.
We believe that all men are created
equal
to the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe it.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
These are the people that are coming into our country, and they're coming from jails, and they're coming from prisons, and they're coming from mental institutions, and they're coming from insane asylums. And they're terrorists. They're being let into our country, and it's horrible.
Mayor, is this what you're seeing?
Well, everybody has a right to an opinion, and these are opinions. We have to have ability to be cognizant of what the facts are, but we don't see what he's saying. I mean, this is not the reality. We live and work here. I'm born and raised in Laredo all my life, and I know that this is not the facts.
The mayor of Laredo has been called into CNN to comment on Donald Trump's feckless, I mean, it's dangerous, claims that countries around the world are emptying their insane asylums. Who has insane asylums anymore? Insane asylums and jails. I mean, this is the old Mariel Boatlift, fear. This is why, why he's doing this? Just so you know. It's very targeted. This is about Florida. I swear to God, this is about the old Cubans in Florida. This imagery of emptying prisons and sending your absolute worst people over to the United States. See, that doesn't play in LA. That's why X, my friend in LA, said, that's not going to work here. Of course it's not going to work there. It's not supposed to work there. It won't work in Arizona. It won't work in New Mexico. It won't work anywhere where people actually interact with people who are waiting for some breadcrumbs to show them a path they could get on towards citizenship after being here and working their brains out for 20 some odd years and have no right to vote. None. Okay? This is meant for Florida. This is meant for the old Cuban community in Florida that remembers the Mariel boat lift that Fidel Castro was responsible for and gave us the beautiful movie Scarface, starring the one and only Al Pacino. However, they remember Castro emptying out the jails. They remember Castro sending all kinds of criminals, hence the movie Scarface, to the United States. Colombians did it too. So, therefore, there was a drug and crime wave associated with that kind of immigration, which, by the way, we had a wet foot, dry foot policy in these United States. Yes. Oh, yes. If you could get here from Cuba and get your feet on dry land, even if it was sandy, you could stay. You could stay. And that was a Republican immigration package, okay? And then, Ronald Reagan with his amnesty and everything else. So shut up about it already. But that's what this is about. This is about Florida because you can't win without Florida. You cannot. Can't. And that's why he's doing all this crap. The idea that there's any evidence, look, crime in the country, especially homicide, okay, is way, way the F down. Way down. The Boebert family, the Trump family, they're responsible for so much property crime. It's unbelievable. Deport them. We'll have a safer, better country. However, the truth is there is nothing to support any of the swill that he is spewing in order to, give people propagandized feelings about immigrants. I mean, it's a racist, tried and true prescription for winning votes with old white people. It just is. And that's who this is for. That's who all this garbage is for. But the truth is that there's nothing to be afraid of here, okay? There is no migrant crime. However, Donald Trump stood on the stage the other night. This is why I watch this crap. This, and also because Howard loves it. He makes me put on YouTube on my TV, okay? Seriously. He makes me put on YouTube on my TV. So we could watch it like it's like any network, including Fox, would even agree to air him anymore. Every time they air him, even on Fox, they have to shut him off. Newsmax, too, has to shut him off. Why? Because he lies about the election. And they've been sued into oblivion for being part and parcel of those lies. I mean, sued $787 million fines, okay? Newsmax, too. And they have the obligation, and they do it all the time. They turn them off, and then whoever's anchoring it has to say there is no truth to the election being stolen. It was a free and fair election in 2020, and Donald Trump lost. He legitimately lost. I mean, they do it all day, every day. It's really, here's one.
But we were doing a great job, and that's where it started. We had an election that we ended up getting many millions of more votes than we did. We did much better in 2020 than we ever even thought about doing in 2016. And very bad things happened. And from that moment on, it was a whole different ballgame in Texas and all over.
All right, we'll continue to monitor this. Just one slight thing I just wanted to add, because when you hear it, and you heard it from Donald Trump about the 2020 election, and it got millions of more votes, in fact, he did get millions of more votes, he still lost that election. That is not in doubt anymore. That's not being debated anymore.
So they can't even air him anymore. So I have to watch it on YouTube with this, this little outfit. I won't even. He knows what it is. Yeah, because Howard's here today. Hi, Howard. But he loves it. He loves it. But anyway, so I end up watching it, and I know that he was on a stage just recently, and he said he wanted to coin a term. Called migrant crime. Right? I don't know who else watched that crap. I don't know who else, sits there and watches this swell, but I live with a 70-year-old man who loves it. He's laughing. It's true. I live with a 70-freaking-year-old man. But anyway, it actually was sent out and it's being done. Check this out.
Migrant crime is beginning to spiral out of control.
There's a migrant crime spree killing Americans.
Migrant crime wave.
The migrant crime crisis.
Migrant crime.
The growing immigrant crime crisis.
Every third day, there's a story about some sort of migrant crime.
Can you believe that? I mean, they're actually doing it. It's like they're on the payroll or something. Tucker is sitting there with Vlad on his lap, and the Fox News anchors are talking about migrant crime. Okay, here are the facts about migrant crime.
The drumbeat of propaganda has been moving not just Republicans, but public opinion overall in a really bad direction. A recent Pew poll found that a clear majority of Americans believe a large increase in the migrant population leads to an increase in crime. The problem is it's not true.
No.
It is simply not true. It is a right-wing invention.
Yes.
According to preliminary data from last year published by the New York Times, quote, the country is likely to see one of the largest, if not the largest, yearly declines in homicides. That's right. We are going to set a record in 2023 for a drop in homicides. So to recap, homicides saw a near record single-year spike under Donald Trump, and it now appears the largest single-year decline in homicides ever in American history happened under Joe Biden.
Live with it. It's fact. It is. And every one of the legitimate networks had to actually do a debunk of that border appearance that broke-ass white man did at the border yesterday. It is so racist, but it's just propaganda. It isn't true. It's just not true. If there are any crime families in this country, okay, it would be like the Menendez family, Senator Bob Menendez, Democrat. Been under indictment before, under indictment again. Thievery, stealing, white-collar crime. Donald Trump, 91 felony counts. The Boebert family. Dad is like a child. He's like, who's the, like, not Chester the molester, but the flasher. He's the he flashes. He like, woo, there it is. That's it. Looking for looky-loos? I don't know. And Boebert, and she's about to welcome new Congressman Adam Frisch from Herald District, okay? And her son breaking into cars like crazy. I mean, all this crime. Conservative crime.
Clear for Things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randi Rhodes Show.
All right, we just had a wrapping up, I don't know how to say it in past tense, the disqualification hearing in the matter of Fani Willis continuing in Fulton County as the district attorney on the case that is a RICO case against, 18 defendants, including Donald Trump, with regard to Donald Trump's lying and threatening of the Secretary of State, which is on tape, on freaking tape, in order to find him, and interfere with a free and fair election, 11,870 votes, or just one more than Joe Biden got. So obviously, Donald Trump does everything and anything he can do not to answer on the merits of any case, but to delay or to cause, the DA to have to, step aside or hand it off or So there was this effort in Fulton County to remove Fani Willis as the district attorney from the case, the prosecutor from that case, by virtue of asserting that she had an actual conflict of interest. What? Yeah. So a conflict of interest in Georgia is very specific. It can't be the perception or the belief. It has to be actual, and it has to be money. So how were they going to say or prove or argue that Fani Willis enriched herself by prosecuting a RICO case against Donald Trump and other people that are on tape in Coffee County, for instance, trying to steal and take voting machines, or on that phone call with Donald Trump, Ryan Germany, the attorney, etc. How are they going to say she was enriching herself? So they come up with this crazy concocted story that she is having a relationship. First, they tried to make it sound like an affair, but Nathan Wade is the person that they wanted to include in this rumor, gossip, bullcrap. Nathan Wade was a married man, and he was, totally down with Bonnie Willis to enrich them both by hiring him and dragging this case out so he could have massive billable hours and make a fortune, and the two of them would be able to run off together after the fact, no matter how it turned out, and just be very, very wealthy. Well, it turns out the whole story fell apart. A, Nathan Wade was in the middle of a divorce. B, the relationship didn't start till after they were working together. C, his billable hours were capped. So there was no way to make a fortune by dragging out a case and allowing him to continue to bill hours. So the whole thing fell apart. So today was the final argument in the hearing to have her disqualified based on that actual financial conflict of interest. And they were able to prove absolutely nothing. This hearing has been going on all day. It just wrapped. And the judge in this case, Scott McAfee, he says he needs 2 weeks to make his decision. Everyone needs 2 weeks now. Everyone needs 2 weeks. Meanwhile, Brett got engaged last weekend. She didn't need 2 weeks to make a decision, did she? No, she loves you, and that's that, and there we go. Everyone else, in the face of no facts, in the face of no law being violated, has to have 2 weeks to make sure they consider the facts in the law. So we won't know whether she's disqualified for 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. Like the Supreme Court, okay? Well, they need 7 weeks. They need till April 22nd to hear arguments about whether or not a former president, hear me, a former president enjoys absolute immunity for crimes he committed while he was president. The answer is so painfully obvious to everybody because, listen, people who are pro-Trump, you understand that if the answer to that is yes, then Joe Biden can do whatever the F he wants to anybody he wants right freaking now and never be prosecuted for any crime. So I don't think you're for that. I just don't, Color me skeptical of your desire to have Trump prevail on that question. I don't think you really want that to happen. But they need 7 weeks to just even hear the argument. And then they'll need time, I'm guessing another 2 weeks. Everybody needs 2 weeks to figure out whether or not a president has absolute. Come on. It's all for delay. And they're handing gifts to Donald Trump. Gifts to him. But on the other flip side of that argument, which I can see because, that's the beauty of me. I can argue from both sides. Very crazy, I know. But on the other side of that argument, there's us. What do I mean? Well, we get to actually decide the verdict. We are all now the jury. All of us are now the jury as to whether or not Donald Trump should be ever, a man who is asserting that he has absolute immunity against any crime he commits if he's president of the United States, is holding himself out to be president of the United States. And guess who has the, final say? We do. We do. So I'm going to say no. It's just me. I'm just going to say no. Let's not go down that chaotic road. Let's not. We're exhausted. Everyone knows we're exhausted. The propaganda is so deep and so thick, and it's all so easily debunked. You want to see? Okay. And we have a much better choice. Yes, he's 4 years older. And yes, there are 350 million plus Americans, and we ended up with these two. I get it. But I actually, if we had to have only two, I am so happy and satisfied even that one of them is Joe Biden. Why? Because he's decent. He's smart. He understands the world. He knows what's going on. He knows what has to happen for us to thrive. He knows what has to happen for the world to continue being the world with all its flaws and all its problems. One group of people wants it all to come to a burning end while they sit in their bunkers, and the other ones are trying to make the world a little bit better, one day at a time. So this was Biden yesterday at the border. which was amazing. This amazed me, okay?
I understand my predecessor's an Eagle Pass today.
Yes.
So here's what I would say to Mr. Trump. Instead of playing politics with this issue, instead of telling members of Congress to block this legislation, join me, or I'll join you in telling the Congress to pass this bipartisan border security bill. We can do it together. You know and I know it's the toughest, most efficient, most effective border security bill this country has ever seen. So instead of playing politics with the issue, why don't we just get together and get it done? Let's remember who the heck we work for. We work for the American people, not the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. We work for the American people. And let's remember who we are. We're the United States of America. No, I mean this. Think about this. There's nothing beyond our capacity. Nothing when we work together. And if all things we should be working together on is this, we have the formula to get it done.
I am the chosen one.
You know, you have let's work together or, I alone can fix it guy. Honestly, that was so magnanimous. There was a period in time when Joe Biden wouldn't even mention Donald Trump's name. And then yesterday, he reached out. He reached out to him, did a little reach around. Work with me.
Share the W. Share
Yeah,
the win.
share the win. Let's do it. I don't care who gets credit for it. Really, I don't. I just want it solved. We got a problem. It's taxing our resources. It's taxing our judicial system. It's taxing our communities on the border. And one of the guys yesterday from Eagle Pass said, don't come here, Trump. Don't.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Just real quick, just in case you didn't see this yesterday, this was stunning to me. This is a community group in Eagle Pass saying to Donald Trump, don't come here, okay? We don't need our town militarized. It's hard enough to be us. Go away.
Mr. Trump, change your ways, because what you're doing is you're hurting the people that need the most help. Our community, if you were to study the demographics, it's not easy. It's not easy being on the border. And this unwanted attention, this unwanted militarization of our community is unwelcome. You are not welcome.
You're not welcome. This is unwelcome. Please don't come here. And of course he did. And he spewed so much nonsense and so much garbage. I mean, about the crime, and stood there with a military guy, which really shocked me. It's like another, like another Millie, photo op where you had a guy all, in camo, obviously an officer of some sort. It looked like a captain. I don't know. I thought I saw 2 bars on his head. Old guy for a captain, but it was just so uncomfortable to watch him and then to listen to him say we don't even know what language people are speaking. We don't even know what country they're... I mean, this is such garbage.
Because everybody I speak to says how horrible it is. Nobody explained to me how allowing millions of people from places unknown, from countries unknown, who don't speak languages. We have languages coming into our country. We have nobody that even speaks those languages. They're truly foreign languages. Nobody speaks them.
I mean, he's just making crap up now because he is a fat old bastard, okay? He's not even rich anymore. He's a broke-ass fat old bastard. He doesn't have the money to put up the bond that is required if he wants to appeal the case, the fraud case, the Trump Organization fraud case, right? Remember, it was like a $465 million verdict against him. And his portion was like $454 million. And I guess what we're learning as not rich white people is that rich white people who then appeal those verdicts have to put up a bond guaranteeing that they're good for the verdict, that they're good for the amount that they have been adjudicated to owe. Because they cheated, and this money that they owe is identifiable as money that they got through fraud. And so now you have to pay it back, according to the court, right? So he has to put up a bond, $454 million. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. And remember, part of the verdict was that he's not allowed to go to a bank and ask for a loan because he commits fraud at banks. what the case was basically about. It was about the fact that he, overvalued his property for insurance purposes and for loans, and undervalued his properties for the purpose of taxation, right? It was fraud. That's fraud. And he lied to banks, which we're not allowed to do, hence fraud. But he doesn't have the money to put up for the appeal, and he went to the court, and he said to the court, well, I could put up $100 million, but I can't do any more than that. I just don't have it. Now, in tandem with that verdict was another verdict. There were two more. Okay, one was $5 million, and then the next one, same defendant, or same plaintiff, E. Jean Carroll, right? She sued him for defamation. She sued him for sexual assault. She prevailed with a jury trial. And then he went out and defamed her again. And so to make him stop, they had to adjudicate a large amount. And so the jury gave a total of $88 million. So 83 and 5. He doesn't have that either. And he wants to appeal it. And E. Jean Carroll's lawyers went to the court and said, he said to the court, Donald Trump did, trust me for that. I got the $88 million. I don't need to put up any money. And E. Jean Carroll's lawyers argued that that is about as reliable as writing it down on a napkin. You know what I mean? No, he has to produce a bond that says he's good for that money if he wants to appeal. So the guy is now broke. Broke. And this, for me, is frightening. Why aren't I happy? Because if he needs to raise $400 million or $400 million is really what he needs to raise, right? Because 88 and 454, and he's got 100, so he's short 400 and change. And who is he going to go to, and what will he owe them? You see what I'm saying? This is not good. So the judge yesterday, who refused to allow him to post $100 million as bond and then go ahead and proceed for an appeal, he said, no, you want to appeal, you're going to put up the whole amount. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll let you go to the bank. You can go to a bank. I'll take away that problem that you have, and I'll let you go to the bank. Because everybody understands, if Donald Trump needs $500 million, he's going to go to Putin. If he needs $500 million, he can go to the Saudis. I mean, Jared got $2 billion, for God's sake. That it was really good yesterday because Hunter Biden, he had to go to that closed door deposition, and he literally defeated every one of their charges bit by bit by bit. And when he was we got the transcript of Hunter Biden's deposition behind closed doors by the likes of James Comer and Jim Jordan, who all did not answer subpoenas. They're all lawbreakers. I mean, there's a whole crime wave going on in Congress, for God's sake. But anyway, so Hunter Biden was asked by Matt Gaetz about his drug addiction. And Hunter Biden was like, really? You, of all people, want to ask me about using drugs? Oh, it was beautiful. It was amazing. But that's all wrapped up now, too. So you'll see Comer's going to drop everything against Hunter Biden because that was also propaganda. That was also a lie. That was also a ruse. That was also to make you hate Joe Biden and to flip the script that Donald Trump isn't the criminal, Joe Biden is the criminal, and that the Trump crime family isn't the Trump crime family, the Biden family is the crime family, just like the Hillary family was the Clinton crime family, right? People were just showing up dead all over Hillary Clinton's lawn. Oh, please, this is so unbelievably predictable. But what's scary is he needs money, and he's running for president. What could go wrong? Kevin in D.C.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Glad to see you back in the game, even though I know you've been back for a while, but I often don't get a chance to listen to you because of my work schedule.
Well, it's good to hear from you. Thank you.
Okay.
I hear it.
I just...
Exasperation.
Yes.
I know. I feel you.
And the thing is, when Bobby, but from all the situations I'm mad at the moment, I am more mad at, in quotes, our side, whatever you want to label yourself, a liberal or Democrat or progressive or left or whatever, because remember when Bobby Jindal said he's tired of his party being a stupid party? Well,
yes. Yeah, but we're not losing. It feels that way. I understand.
Oh no, I don't believe that because the last few elections.
Hang on. We're gonna run up right against a break, and I want to hear you out. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Hold on. Did I do that right?
Wow.
Wow. I'm on my game
Your
today.
flowers. Nicely done.
We'll be right back with Kevin from DC.
Fatality. This is the Randi Rhodes Show.
It
To
is.
speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
All right, Kevin, stand by. I just want to say one little announcement. So today was also a hearing in Aileen Cannon's Florida Fort Pierce courtroom. That's the Florida documents case. That's the Magalocco case where Donald Trump, after he was president, actually lied to the FBI about having documents and said if they were there, they were planted, and then said, okay, I have them, but they're mine, on and on. And, they said, we'll give them back. And he said, no, I'm not giving them back. Or he said he would give them back. And a year went by, and they finally raided his freaking house. Anyway, she was supposed to set a trial date today. And, of course, because the Supreme Court has said, well, he may have immunity. Yes, but these were things that he did when he wasn't president anymore, just so you know. She didn't set a date. She didn't. So she needs time, too. Okay, so the Fulton County guy to disqualify Bonnie Wells, he needs 2 weeks. Aileen Cannon in Florida on the documents case, which everybody said is the easiest case of all. 2 weeks, in, out, done, guilty, right? Because he lied repeatedly to the FBI and stole what belongs to the National Archives. We know that. Presidential Records Act says that presidential records go to the archives once you're not president anymore. So that's kind of a 2 week, sort of a case. She needs time to think about that, too. She doesn't want to. Now, they asked for a trial date in August. August, that would be pre-election. Why August? Well, a couple reasons. One, it would block out the January 6th case in D.C., the time frame that they have for that one. And also because in August, they actually will never have the trial. They will argue it's too close to the election, which is bullcrap, bullcrap. The DOJ rule, just so you know, about too close to the election is about indictments. It's about search and seizure. It's about investigations. It has nothing to do with judges. It has to do with the Department of Justice. It has to do with the AG. It has to do with the FBI actually investigating. But once the indictment from the grand jury is handed and a case is given to a judge for trial, it doesn't apply anymore because the rule is for the prosecutor. It's not for judges. So the rule doesn't apply. You could put Trump on trial during the last week of the election if you had to, if you wanted to. Just so anyway, I needed you to know that. All right, Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, no problem. My frustration, listen, going by the track record, despite what the polls said and the pundits said at the time, for the last several years, Democrats have not only won, but turned it out, went way over expectations. So I'm praying that happens again, but my frustration is I shouldn't even we shouldn't be worried about. I mean, when I hear Democrats or whoever say things like there's no difference between Trump and Biden, or there's no difference between Republicans and Democrats, and you can go, I've done it myself with family, which is really irritates family members, where I've gone, okay, you're not going to talk over me. I've gone topic by topic, women's reproductive rights, gay rights, voting rights for blacks, et cetera, et cetera. When I break it down like that and show that Republicans are against it or trying to block it, student loans, so on and so forth, they can't say rhymes with spit. So then when I say, so what the bleep are you talking about? It's either changing the subject or one said, I just want everything to burn down. And this is duplicated when they've asked, and I understand the Israeli-Palestinian thing is a very, very emotional. But the bottom line is when interviewers ask them, well, that Trump has said things like, I'm going to have a ban on you and all the other things you care about are going to be exponentially worse and so on. Their answer is just like a robot. Yeah, but I still have no choice. Or another one said, well, I'll just vote for Trump. But why? He's worse. Well, I just feel I have no. I don't get that, Randy. It is a.
I don't get it either, but Kevin, the idea that we're frustrated that he even has a chance, okay,
yes.
is something I share with you. I mean, for me, it's stunning, really. After everything we've been through with Republicans, and even this week, okay, they still can't fund the government. They can't govern. They can't. Yesterday, they passed a bill in the House to fund the government for a week.
Insane.
A week. March 8th, half the government isn't funded, and the other half that they did fund yesterday is only for 3 weeks. I mean,
can't.
I know.
And can I ask you this? I'm a person that learns. Like back in the day, I mean, there's several examples I can give, but I didn't need 50 million times to learn something. Like I learned back in the day when guys would catcall at women, and the women never once said, "Oh yes, baby, all those disgusting things you said, yes, come in and do it to me." Never did it work. So I only needed one time to say, "Hey, that doesn't work. If you want to get a woman, that's not the way to do it." And and I'm using that to be kind of humorous.
I know.
To make a point.
Well, check this out. Check this out, okay? The problem that we have as a nation, believe it or not, is white women. It really is.
Yeah.
Right. And so now that white women are being threatened with their IVF, their $100,000 investment into having a family, and they're being told, no, you can't do that. That's against God or whatever. The white Christian nationalists are telling the white women, maybe we have a shot at getting the white women to vote blue. And if they would do that, then people like him would never have a chance. So there's that.
I really pray you're right. And I was just going to say again, I know you got more of a show to just talk to me, but I would think after Nixon, after running LBJ out, and I understand the war and all that, running him out, and the result of this is getting Nixon. And then after that, it's saying, oh, there's no difference between Al Gore and Bush. And the result of that was an 8-year wide awake nightmare. And
a 20-year war into I know.
So how we can't learn from that okay, it's not wise to cut your nose and spite your face and be a one-issue voter, or I'm going to teach those Democrats a lesson because they won't.
Well, here's the thing about the Israeli-Gaza thing, okay? First of all, Biden and a whole bunch of Democrats today, pro-Zionist, pro-Israel Democrats, including Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's from Florida, and one of the most ardent defenders of anything Israel does ever, right? She signed a letter saying ceasefire, okay? She did yesterday. So everybody's had it. Now, in spite of that, when people are like, but Gaza, do you think that Donald Trump won't hand over to Benjamin Netanyahu, his freaking buddy for 30, 40 years, the Gaza Strip? Do you think that Trump wouldn't give Ukraine to Vlad? You got to be mad if you think that they're going to be the same on these issues of war and peace, because they're not. They will just hand it over.
Yes, if you care about that issue, why would you do the very thing that not only makes that particular issue worse, exponentially worse, but all the other issues, from climate change to whoever you are. If you're gay, they're telling you, I'm going to interfere with you trying to get married. If you're black, I'm going to continue to double down on trying to suppress your vote. The IVF to the, I mean, it goes on. So not only that Israeli issue would be worse, but all the other things. So it just makes me want to vomit.
I know
that, and if I'm venting, I hope I'm not wasting your time or your show venting.
No, it's listen. There's this saying that if one person is saying something to you, there's at least 100 others that are listening that feel exactly the same way. Exactly, and that's why I take some time. A lot of times, I'll do a couple of segments for somebody who is arguing with me, because I know that there's more than just that caller. But we're all frustrated that he even has a shot. Everybody is just stunned at what our system produces.
Yes.
It produces two freaking people. One is clearly superior to the other one on every single checkbox you would have. Character, knowing the Constitution, for the middle class, doing what's right by Ukraine, doing what's right by Gazans, okay, and Palestinians. One is actually, alive and well and alert and smart, and the other one is looking for power for himself to keep himself out of jail.
And he's not helping you. I
Right.
mean, even if you have white grievance, which is a powerful thing. For
It's a powerful thing.
But he's not doing it. Every second, I keep hoping for Rod Serling to finally step around the corner and say, audience, I know that was a herring, but fictional episode of the Twilight Zone.
Listen,
But he
thank
won't
you.
do
This
it.
is a great way to end Friday because I know we are not alone in our just awe of how is this happening? You know?
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Kevin. Glad you've been with me for all these years. And I understand people are busy and, so he hadn't been able to check in with us for a long, long time. But listen, we're all like, he has a shot? The man's got 91 felony counts against, and he has a shot. So at what point do you say the problem is not with him, it's with us?
They want a dictator. They want their guy.
So there aren't enough of them. If we show up in massive numbers, which Kevin points out we usually do. We usually do, especially when we're threatened. So let's just do that.